Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am doing it's Saturday, so it's a versus day. Today we have not just we have today's video is going to be Corvette versus Dodge Viper versus Ford slash GT40. These are the three American automakers, three big cars of each one they make. Chevy with the Corvette, Dodge with the Viper, Ford with the Ford GT slash GT40. Category wise, we're gonna do heritage, their American car history, and their auto history. First off, is their legacy Corvette. We'll start with Corvette because it's the one that's been around the longest. First generation was the C1, 1953, and then current is C8 uh, in 2020. Um, the legacy of the Corvette is just incredible. You have 8 generations. Um, been around for well over 60 years, close to 70 now. The Vet is just it's a legendary car for a reason. It's one of the best because you get the split window Corvette, you get the new mid-engine C8, and everything in between all that. You get so many great models. The Corvette was America's first true sports car in the 50s and is still the reigning main sports car you can easily get a three on this list. Great car, still has not been discontinued ever. It's been around just 1 year. They didn't make a Corvette, and that was '84, but that's it. So for legacy, I gotta give Corvette a 10 out of 10. It's been around the longest. It was the first one of the three, and it's still kicking pretty strong. Next up, the Ford GT slash GT40. Um, its legacy is pretty big too. Winning Le Mans in 1966 through 1969. The Ford GT when it came out in 2005 and stuff was a limited run car, but it's still legendary and still highly collectible. And then the current Ford GT, which I think is the best car from the 2010s, personally. Um, Great car, its legacy is legendary. It's just what keeps this down is there's a big gap from '69 to 2005, and there's actually in 2005 and there still was a kind of a gap. So its legacy still a solid 8 because of what it did and stuff in racing, but does not get nearly the same credit as Corvette does. But still an amazing car, and its legacy does stay true to, to what it is. It's still one of the most legendary sports cars in American history. But like I said, it gets 8 out of 10 because it's had big gaps in years, which a Corvette didn't. So Ford GT gets 8 on this part one. Then you go to the Dodge Viper, the newest of the three, which I'm not gonna put any stat on it, but it was the only one though with a V10 and just a manual. The Viper ran from 92 through 17, and that's where it had trouble. That's the thing; it's no longer with us. There's no 2020 Viper, and that's what kind of killed it on this one. And it still it gets a 7, but it not being with us anymore kind of killed it. So it's only in third place in this. Clear winner of Legacy is a Corvette, but Viper still gets a big, really big. Still deserves to be in the same category as these three because it's Chrysler's big car. Plus, Colonel Shelby helped out with both the Ford GT40 and this car, so that's why I say it's 7. Next up is its popularity. The Corvette. It's such a popular car. It's finally getting more popular with the younger generations with the C7 and the C8. but its popularity, hands down, is incredible. It has a fan base just for itself, for the Corvette and stuff, and just because of that, it gets a 10 out of 10 for that. Its popularity and all the different makes you can get from mid-engine to CR1 to Grand Sport and all that. You can't go wrong with the Corvette. You really can't. And that's why it gets it a 10 out of 10 because of this. And Corvette's just a great car, and there's a reason why it's one of the greatest cars in American history. So popularity is still a popular car. It still has its fan base. No, instead of 10, I give this actually a 9 because the Mustang is a little bit more iconic, I will admit, but Corvette is right up there as like the main sports car, especially right now with the mid-engine. So I give it a 9 out of 10 because there were some parts in the history where it wasn't the most popular, mainly like the C4 era and stuff. So I give it a 9 out of 10. For GT slash GT40, when it was around the 60s, it was just known for its racing. It wasn't really known when it comes to street cred. So the when it came out in the 2000s, the Ford GT was a really popular car when it came out, and it was very limited, which made it even more popular. And then the current Ford GT is also really popular for GT. So I actually Corvette and Ford GT both get a 9 on this one. The popularity of Ford GT is really up there, and it's a great car, and it deserves the street credit and stuff it gets. So it easily gets a 9 out of 10 on this one, and yeah, it deserves the popularity and the street cred it gets with the two newer generations. So I give it a 9 out of 10 with that mark. The Viper, still really popular car. When it came out, it was so popular in the 90s. Its first generation. Second generation isn't as popular, but it got sometimes overshadowed with the Corvette. And then its last generation was when it first came out, it was popular, but wasn't as popular as it continued. So it only gets 8 out of 10, but it's still a great car, and I still love the Dodge Viper because it's just raw power and stuff. So it still gets an 8 out of 10. It's just marked down from the other two. Now, heritage is next. Starting with the Viper, it has a good racing heritage. It's just not as well known as the GT or the Corvette. So that mark, I want to give it a 7 out of 10. But they were still some great race cars in the 2000s to the 2010s. So, but there's no major wins that I could think of for the Viper that came with the Corvette and the 4GT. So, like it's a 7 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10 for racing heritage. GT40 slash 4GT gets a 10 out of 10, winning Le Mans, and then winning Le Mans 50 years after when they first won it. To me, easily 10 out of 10 for the 4GT. Um, it's just a remarkable car that it beat Ferrari in their heyday when Ferrari was unbeatable at the time. So 10 out of 10 for the 4GT, and then the Corvette 9 out of 10. They never. I always got overshadowed by the 4GT, and they got Le Mans and stuff, but its wins at the 24 Hours of Daytona and stuff are still really popular and stuff. So I have to give it 9 out of 10. I don't give it a perfect 10, but it's a 9 out of 10. So Ford is and Chevy are tied 1-1. So last um to the tiebreaker for the three is horsepower um and how well is it the track. Corvette, base Corvette, it's a it's a great car. Um, I like it a lot. I give it a 9 out of 10 in this one. It's more well known as a street car than really a race car sometimes. And that's saying a bad thing. I like both, but you don't really hear it as much as you with the 4GT when it comes to racing. Viper, pure power. Um, It's a great car, but I think the newer Vipers, no one, it's kind of an old school. So I just give it a 9 out of 10 because it's pure power. And the 4GT, it's a great street car, but I think I'll give the Corvette a 10 out of 10 because it's been around for such a long time, and so I get overshadowed by the 4GT. But I think the Corvette wins this versus because it's the one that stayed on longest in years. It has a good racing heritage and its popularity and horsepower and stuff. You can easily give it easily wins this. So Corvette wins. But 4GT is not far behind. And Viper is it's there. It's still a great car, but nowhere near as good as the GT or the Corvette. Um, that was this versus. Tomorrow is the weekly diecast haul. Um, I got more videos planned for this week. Next week coming up, and new verses next week. So I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe, comment, like, and please hit the notification for more updates. So um, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.